Welcome to the dumbest guy in the room. Today's guest was a former Philadelphia police officer and someone that was able to climb the ranks in the UFC's heavyweight division. But today he's an entrepreneur. Him and his brother opened a gym in the Parkwood section of Philadelphia where I grew up. It is an MMA style gym. It's called the Forge. And in this conversation, we dig deeper into discipline, sacrifice, the importance of family and friends and surrounding yourself with good people, and how the ups, downs, the wins and losses in life really help shape and mold your identity throughout your life. So with that being said, our guest is Chris Daukaus.
Especially in that neighborhood. Me and Kyle, we co-own the Forge MMA. We originally grew up in Tacony, so right below Mayfair. At the time when we were kids, all blue collar working people. It's still pretty much that now. As of right now, the neighborhood's gone down a little bit. Just the way that the city is, just the way that people are. But when we were growing up, we were surrounded by cops, firefighters, everything like that. Kind of how Parkwood is now. Union guys, whoever was in Carpenters Union, Steamfitters Union, whatever union they were in, and just growing up in that environment, it was great, man. So then we didn't have any, like MMA or anything growing up, but get back to what you were saying about, people, changing their paths, or, they go left when you go right. And then you see how crazy the differences in your life will take you. We just wanted to have at least something, in the community to where we would, not necessarily like lead kids, but have the option. If they wanted to pursue something, we would give them that option and be able to get out. You know what I mean?
And I usually don't give that big of an intro. I usually give that for you to do and kind of explain who you are, but
Yeah.
it just kind of came out, dude.
Well, thank you.
I'm extremely grateful for that gym, and I'm not even living there anymore.
Yeah.
I just add one more thing, and then I really want to dig deeper into. I want to dig deeper into who Chris Daukaus is today. But man, my kids, dude, like they love you guys, and they were there for a month.
You. Yeah, thank you.
You know,
yeah,
it's that 1 month, dude, made them that much more confident. Just everywhere else.
Good.
They're back into it, but they're not. It's not the same thing.
Of course, yeah.
It's really not, dude, and it's wild to see the difference.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because you guys have kids, but like, and maybe your wives are like, "Yo, be gentle with my kids," and it's keeping you guys at bay. But
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're so good with the kids, dude. Like it's really cool to see that.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's weird, but it, like, at least for me, kids they always just gravitated towards me. It was just like weird. It's like it was just strange. Like
protector, dude.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
you're
I guess.
A cop.
Yeah. I got even being a cop.
You're not a scary looking guy, by the way.
No, well, thank you.
But you're a killer.
Yeah, that's good to know. But yeah, I mean, I just treat kids, like they're little individuals. They're little human beings, and then you show them a little bit of respect. You expect certain things out of them, and you set those standards, and they pretty much follow suit, and they'll follow you to the end of the earth, man. It's great.
It is, man. So just thank you for that, and thanks for doing it for Parkwood. And man, anybody for Parkwood, maybe if kids and the gym's not just for kids, by the way.
No,
I mean there's really good fighters in there.
Yeah.
Trust me, they're very good fighters in there, but they're also very understanding of the new guy too. I never felt uncomfortable in there.
Yeah.
Personally, and everybody else was in there was very well trained.
Yeah.
But great gym all around, dude, for everybody.
Thank you.
If anybody's ever thought about doing it, they need to hit up the Forge, dude.
Yeah,
honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's very comfortable.
That's the biggest thing with taking that first step, because it's an MMA gym, it's a jiu-jitsu gym, it's whatever gym you want it to be, but it's super intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, professional fighters are in there, they're running classes, and you're just like, I'm not going to do this, just because even though you have a desire to be like, I want to do it, but then you're just like intimidated. We are not that, we're not, knocking people out. We're not doing all that. We're here for all levels, and that's what I always tell people whenever they come in, they're interested. It's an all level thing. Like some people get intimidated by, you know, they show up in mid class and they hear like pads
Lex.
cracking. Yeah, Lex. Yeah, his goofy ass yelling at people. But yeah, but it's a great spot. It's a we wanted to build what I really felt like we could build like a good community, and that's what I felt like we needed, and that's what I felt like a lot of fighters do their best when they have a great community around them. And I think everyone really, as long as you have a good supporting community, and you can conquer the world, man.
Yeah, man, that's really what I want to dig in. And you said something that, to me that's really important is that's what you needed,
Yeah,
right? And I'm assuming when you said it was you and your brother, but
yeah,
you it's if you don't put yourself first, there's no way to help anybody else if you're
correct,
fucked up, you know?
correct. Yeah,
Um, so I love that you made that point, but like the reason your guys' story is, I mean, it's so insane, dude, because where you got to that level,
yeah,
and I'm a big advocate of trying to tell people like, hey, that I made it moment doesn't exist. It's not real.
yeah,
It's gonna fade. It's just not a real thing.
yeah,
Um, but like you got a lot further in fighting than most. There's a lot of people in Philly that fight. There's any sport. You got
yeah.
up there, dude. I mean, I never seen. I don't think anybody from Philly heavyweight ever made it to that kind of stage. And
No,
then Derek Lewis fight,
yeah,
and then the down. You come down the other side of it,
yep,
and now your brother's on the other end of it, dude. Like he went
yep.
down and going up. That roller coaster. Like, can you just walk me through the identity shifts through all of that? Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It sucks. They say it all the time, right? MMA in particular, that sport of MMA is the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Going from watching, because my brother got signed first, and then I got signed shortly after. The His first stint in the UFC before he didn't get re-signed was a rocky road for him. He had his ups and his downs, but then he was super persistent, and he's finally got back there, and he's back there now, and he should be there, and he deserves to be there, and he's going to make a, I don't want to call it a run, but he's going to be there, and he's going to be there for a long time, and he's a dangerous, dangerous human being. But back to me with the downward trajectory off that Derek Lewis loss. Like you when you're at the highest of highs, everyone's your friend, everyone's hitting you up, and then when you start losing a couple people break off here and there, and then where I'm at now, I'm on a 5 foot skid of losing, and it's really all about who who are the people that originally started with you. That's what I've Whoever's going to be there at the beginning when you're 0-0 amateur, when you just tell your friends like, "Hey, I think about doing this. I'm going to do this," and then you're there and you're like, "Yo, I got to fight." It's whoever really shows up and is supportive when it's just an idea or it's just a thought in your head. Those are the real ones, and those are going to be the ones who are there with you through it all. Like I vividly remember, I was young, but it was me and my wife were sitting out front of her house down off LaRue Street when she still lived at home. Me and my wife have been together since 18, since we were both 18. So it's I'm 36 now, but we've been together for a while. But I vividly remember telling her, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna start this MMA thing. Like, are you cool with it?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm with you. Whatever. Like, you want to do it? I'll be supporting you." And she's been here ever since. So, my brother, I went in first. I went to our first gym first. He went in maybe a week afterwards, and we've just been doing it ever since. And our close knit support system that we've had over the years, it's unwavering, and it's something to be proud of, to have those people, you know, standing by your side through literally everything, through being ranked top 10 in the world at one time to now, where I'm at now, 5 fight losing streak, getting cut by the UFC and everything like that. And, now we're opening up our own spot, Kyle's thriving right now. He's just, 2 first-round finishes. One is most recent at Madison Square Garden and the mecca of, combat sports. And it's great, dude. Like, there's nothing better. It's awesome.
That's awesome that you feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's and I think that's where that culture comes into play, dude. It's just like you're not talking about the culture. It's just that you guys are just living it.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the first times, and I have good friends that live in Parkwood, man. But growing up, when we were younger, it was all about who can hold each other down so that once somebody's on top the longest.
Yeah.
It was never like, yo, let's go build something. Let's go be
Yeah.
something. It's,
Yeah.
yo, let's get him down so that we're still here. And comparing to that, dude. And it's just so negative. And I'm grateful for it because otherwise I wouldn't know how.
Correct.
Like I got to live it. It's hard to see though. Like I'm sure like you can look at right now where you're at and be like, dang, you don't see why the bad shit's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
But I try to remind myself like one day it's going to be revealed. Like it's going to tell me.
Yep.
So like and you said you met your wife at a young age.
Yep.
And she's always at the gym and, and doing things but trying to keep it together too.
Yeah.
So you were a Philly cop first off, which is
Philly cop.
Crazy, and you mixed it up. You were doing both, right?
Yep, I was doing both. So
that's a stable job, dude.
Yeah, that's a career you either end up dying in your cop car or you retire and then a week later you have a heart attack and you die. That's that kind of career. But no, so I originally took the police test when I was in the academy. My old man's a cop. My old man was a cop. He was a sergeant in SWAT in the Philly SWAT teams for probably 2 decades. That dude's been there forever. Retired since then. He's retired. He's been living in Florida, so it's good for him. But he's like, yo, I was in college. He's like, just take the cop test. You can go back to school. You'll have the extra money in your pocket. You have a great health benefits. You'll be a great career. I was like, all right, I'll take it. Didn't hear anything for a full year. During that year, I ended up finding an MMA gym. Started training full time, and I took 1 year, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure out this fighting thing while I'm in school and working, dead end jobs and all that stuff. And then I pretty much dedicated that year to making the jump into taking my first fight. And then I got a call from the police department and they said, hey, you start the police academy in a week. And I was like, all right, cool. I got an MMA fight lined up for Friday night. So I'm going to do the MMA fight and then I'll be in the police academy on Monday. And that's kind of what I did. My old man was super pissed at the time. He was like, if you get hurt, you break your hand or whatever. Looking back on it now, he was just looking out for my well-being and all that. But at the time I wanted to hear no parts of that. I thought he was trying to hold me down and, do all that. But looking back now, it was just, he was just being protective. He was just being a dad. And me being a dad now, I'd probably say the same thing to my son. But of course, I'm expecting him to do whatever he wants. So, but yeah.
Man, where do you think you got that from? So your dad, and I could look back at both my parents, and when they were alive, I judged everything that they were doing. Then when they passed away, everything kind of revealed itself to me as far as the lessons that were taught. But they were themselves. Like, the one thing, like my dad, real quick, say something about my old man, but
of course,
he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer when I was about 18 years old, and the doctor tells him, hey, you're gonna live 6 months if you don't get treatment. If you get treatment, you got a year. So my dad says I'm not getting treatment, and I just was like, what?
Yeah, you lost.
You don't want to be here. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And he, had a conversation with me. He's like, look, Bill, like, I didn't know I had cancer until they just told me.
Yeah.
I'm here today. If I get treatment, I'm going to spend every day in that hospital bed, and I can't live.
Yeah.
He's like, I'd rather just do this today with you and live
Yeah.
and not worry about tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I could not wrap my head around that. But he lived for 11 fucking years after that.
That's wild, man. That's wild.
Never went back to a doctor, nothing. But like that's the kind of thing you're talking about. Well, where did
Yeah.
I was just the ultimate risk taker because I just wanted to be different and I was an asshole. I would not put it was not positive things I was doing.
Yeah.
It was more rebellious shit that I
Yeah.
would do. But like where did you get that risk? If your dad's a SWAT, like one, gotta be on your toes at all
Yeah.
times. No drugs are
Yeah.
getting in your house.
Nope.
Old.
Nope.
So you're always on your toes and I'm sure it's just that he wasn't a risk taker. If you take that
Yeah.
job, he wanted to have his family secure, and then you come along, and it's like you have to literally you're put to the test right then and there.
Yeah. So
Both careers on each hand,
both
and you got to go and
careers.
do it. Like
Yeah,
how?
both
Where'd you get that
careers.
from?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It was literally it was just my drive to compete. Like at that time, I wasn't competing in anything athletic in college. I wanted to have it. I had all this time invested. I didn't want to not do the fight. You know what I mean? Like I already invested a year of my life. Like what people don't realize, like I used to be like 300 pounds. I was like super fat, out of shape, and then I dropped all this weight to do this fight. And I'm like, I'm not. I didn't put in all this work to do that. And that's like a thing that my dad instilled in me was like, if you start something, you finish it through. And I'm like, well, sorry, dude. Like, and me and him are pretty much the same. My wife says it all the time. She's like, you and your dad are the same person.
Crazy
I
how it
don't see.
happens.
I don't see it. Everybody else sees it. I don't see it. Um, but yeah, it is crazy how it happens. But yeah, she's like, you guys are pretty much the same person, and I'm like, all right. But yeah, it's all his fault because he instilled that in me, making sure that I see whatever I start doing through. So
Well,
here we
thanks,
are.
Thanks, Mr. Daukaus,
Yeah, right.
because
Yeah,
now we got the Forge.
that's right.
Um, Now, so you had a career and you were doing the MMA on the side, and at some
Yeah,
point, I'm sure you shared that before, but at some point you had to make the decision to
yeah,
not be a cop. I mean, you can't just continue to do that.
yeah.
Uh, so you made that decision,
Yep.
and now that I guess at what point were you at in your career when you stopped? When
So
was
I
that?
retired. I retired after 10 years, and that was right after, like, right before the Derek Lewis fight. So I I was on a 4 fight win streak in the UFC. They were already. This was before I got Derek Lewis's name. That me and my wife were talking, and I'm like, the first one, I'm like, all right, cool. Like I got to win, and then the second one happened, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like this is going really well, and then I got the third win, and
Boom.
all right, like the guy I fought was Alexei Olenek, and he's like a big name. He's older, old school guy, but he was around. Like he's beaten big tough names. He was in the top 15. He was, he never fought for the title or anything like that, but he was like a super crafty veteran at the time, and he was like super dangerous. So that was the one that was like the step up in which I was looking for, and like the step up that they gave me, and I was like, oh man, like this is getting serious. So I took that fight camp super serious. And then after that, after I beat him, I was like, I'm only going to get the top guys. And I'm like, can I compete as a pro athlete, like compete in the UFC as like the top guys if I'm still working a career at the same time? And like me and my wife sat down, we talked about it for a while. It was like a really hard decision. And I was like, all right, let me take one more fight, see what they offer. And then after that fight, dictating on how that fight goes, then we'll make our decision. Second round knockout for the next one, I won, got a nice bonus, and I'm like, dude, we got this. Like we can make this work. So I went into a supervisor and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm out, man. Like I'm leaving. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this fighting thing's taking off. The fights are only going to get harder. The pressure's only going to get more like bigger and bigger things, bigger and bigger risks. I'm like, I'm going to need to focus on this 110%. And he's like, all right, man. He's like, you know, it is what it is. This is what you want to do. We can't hold you back. So a little backstory behind that. I originally wanted the police department. I actually asked the police department and the higher ups. I said, I'm not asking for a paycheck. I'm not asking for anything. Pretty much all I wanted them to do was just to hold my spot as a police officer. I told them that I would make every kind of yearly training that whatever I needed to do, like MPO, go into the range and making sure I'm qualified and everything like that. All I want you to do is just save a spot, just in case this fighting thing doesn't really work out, and something happens and I got to come back. I don't want to have to go through the whole process again, go through the academy and all that. And they were like, "Sorry, bud, you got to pick a career, man. You either be a cop or be a fighter." And I was like, super simple, man. I'm out. And that was it.
Yeah, man. I think it's the second time that you've mentioned sitting down with your wife and her like having your back and being
Yeah,
supportive of that decision.
yeah,
Um, now I grew up with Kyle's wife. I mean, she was just kind of around some of the same
yeah,
people I know of her. And I felt like every time I seen her around him too, they were both kind of very supportive, both of the
yeah. Of
wives.
course, of
I
course.
have the
Yeah,
same. My wife is like extremely supportive of anything that I also want to do, and I think that's a big thing in a man's life, dude. That's not talked about a
oh,
lot. Is like
yeah,
the importance of having, and I don't know if it's from one being a man and having the ability to have that type of respect,
yeah.
but also like having a woman in your life that is supportive, dude. It goes a
Changes
long
everything.
way, dude.
It changes a lot of things. It certainly is it's a blessing, and I count my blessings every day, especially with my wife, because she's out there working, killing it for the kids and the babies, and
Insane job.
insane jobs, and I'm
Yep,
I'm uh I'm
my
just
wife
out
does it
here.
too.
Yeah, I'm just out here just being a stay-at-home dad and you know part-time business owner with my brother. So it's fun. It's exciting. I get to go to work and actually enjoy it, and hang out with my buddies and all that, and bring in new people and make new friends. It's really good. But having that blessing of having the other half, and it's something that's really great, man. And being able to express that to her and not take it for granted and everything like that, it's certainly a blessing. And like you said, if more men had that, even just the ability to have that conversation with their wives or their girlfriends or whatever, and not feel, I don't want to say ashamed, but like nervous about having that conversation, because like we're humans, man. We get into routines and everything, and then all of a sudden you decide to change the routine, and then everyone's like,
Yo,
what are you doing? Like,
yep.
everything's cool here. Why are you changing shit? And then all of a sudden you're just like, all right, I guess no one's supporting me. And then that's why it happens.
Yeah, and when you're by yourself, you can shake things up all you want and you'll
Yeah,
leave. I mean, friends or whatever will disappear, but when you're with, I feel like that's what keeps a lot of people stagnant too, is just literally not communicating in a relationship. I didn't know I was
yeah,
going to go there, but you kept mentioning it, and that's like my wife's the only reason that I'm alive right now, dude. And I'm
yeah,
not down Kensington or
yeah.
any of that. It's all because of her. But since before my son was born, it was always in my ear, like, "Hey, did you ever think about going to AA? Ever think about going to?" I'm like, "What do you mean AA? I don't need
No,
AA. I'm not."
yeah.
And then my son was born, and boom,
And it's
responsibility
changed
for another
everything. Yep.
human. But like, she was constantly in my ear, but not like it wasn't at a point where she was overwhelming,
Yeah,
just like attacking me. I mean,
yeah,
it got there at one
yeah.
point,
Of
but I
course.
need it when I needed it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's amazing that you guys have that too, because that's another difficult thing, dude. Like, when did you have your first kid within all this?
So I was, my son was born right before, um, my championship fight for CFFC when I fought Zoo. So he's going to be 7 in January. So,
So you made this
uh,
decision, like,
yeah. So like he was born in January. I had the fight, lost the fight to Zoo for the championship fight, and then I might have won. I'm trying to think. I won. another one or two. And then right when the pandemic hit, what, 2020, right?
Yep.
I was scheduled for a title fight. I want to say February or March. I was scheduled for a title fight in 2020. And right then and there, the fight got canceled because the world got shut down with all the pandemic and all that. And then right then and there, it was just like, oh man. Then it was just like, all right, I guess this whole fighting thing is going to be put on hold. And then 6 months later, they were like, the UFC finally got like big on everything, and they were like, all right, we're just having fights. And then I got scheduled for the rematch with that dude just because the local organization that I was fighting for, CFFC, they're like, if UFC's having fights, we're going to follow suit. We're doing the same thing that they do. And then they called. The UFC ended up calling in August of that year. So I was still fighting. Like my son was born. Like I said, he was born January. I had a fight with Zoo. Like I said, 2 weeks after he was born, maybe 2.5 weeks. And I mean, it certainly changes things having more responsibility. I mean,
Yeah, I
as
think
a
it's the
man,
first time I
yeah,
felt responsibility, to be honest
yeah,
with
yeah. And to be honest with you, me too. Like
you.
even
Yeah.
being a cop for however many years at that time, I was like, oh, boy. I like looked at my wife when he was born, and the doctor's like, all right, you guys can leave, and I'm like,
What? What do
well
I
now,
do?
what do we do? Like,
Hmm.
I'm like, what are we gonna do? Like, he's gonna be at home, and I gotta take care of him. Like, I guess we'll figure it out. But yeah, it was like the first, obviously, major responsibilities. He's my child, and I've had other responsibilities. I've been able to take people's freedoms away at that time. I bought a house and everything like that. Those are giant responsibilities, but it's just changing. It changes certainly when you have kids.
Yeah, it's just another human being that you're
Yeah.
like you feel love for you don't really understand.
No.
And then like I just remember my parents as parents. They were just parents. I thought they
Yeah.
were always parents. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But I have that conversation with my 10-year-old all the time, dude. Because I'll do something that I don't necessarily want to do.
Yeah.
I'll regret it or yell at them or something.
Yeah.
And then somebody come in here. Um and I'll sit down with them. I'll be like, yo, I afterwards, like, look, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to react that way. And I'd be like, look, I just want you to know that like
This is my
I've
first
never
time.
been a
This is my
dad
first time.
before.
Yeah. This is my first time.
Like you're my first 10-year-old, dude. So
Yeah.
you're gonna do things that I'm gonna react in ways I have not had to do
Yeah.
before.
Yep.
So just like this is your first time being a son, this is my first time being a dad.
Yep.
So
We're figuring this out together, man. We're
and I let
figuring
them
it out.
know because I don't remember that. I just assume my dad just was born
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. They just know everything. You're just like, oh,
Yeah,
my parents know everything.
they
Like,
knew everything, dude.
yeah.
It's a
Like,
weird thing.
yeah. Yeah. Even like with my son, he's like, why is this that way? And I'm just like, I don't know,
Yeah,
dude. And he's like,
yeah,
what do you mean you don't know? And I'm like, no. He goes, how does this work? Or like, how does this animal turn into this animal and do that? And I'm like, dude, I'm pretty smart and like relative to certain topics. And he just throws me a loop and I'm just like, dude, I don't know. We'll figure it out, man. I have
I
no idea.
mean, if you really kind of break it down, it's just like you in a way. So like I use you guys. I use the metaphor for what you guys do for a living and what I do.
Yeah,
Um, just watching everything you do can be really transitioned to any type of any work,
pretty much.
any
Yeah.
purpose. Because a lot of people when they see fighting, they see fists, they see the knees, they see
Yes.
the kicks, they see
Yeah.
the grappling, they can see that.
Yeah.
But what to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but the hardest part about it is not what's that. It's
No.
what's going on in your mind as it's happening.
Yeah.
And having to not think almost because that's what training's for.
Yeah.
Like for me, when I'm in the gym, when I when you're like, all right, dude, let's wrestle, and I'm looking at you, I'm like, all right, I can do nothing, but here we
Yeah.
go. And then I'm in a chokehold in seconds.
Yeah.
But it don't matter what I do, you're gonna react that way. You're
Yeah.
gonna your body's just gonna react.
Correct.
same thing when your kid's telling you. I noticed that they'll point things out that I'm like, I didn't even know that was happening ever because my brain,
Yeah.
whatever animal thing he was talking about, it's like
Yeah.
I'd never
I don't know,
seen
dude.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention to it because I'm so used to doing what I do.
Yep.
So I try to pay more attention when they're asking those crazy questions because I'm like,
Of course. Yeah.
they're kind of teaching me something that's,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like cool to like go back to being a kid. And you're like, dude, what are you thinking about? And you're like, and they're like, I don't know, do you think who would win a race, Sonic or the Flash? And you're just like, I
yeah,
don't know, dude. I don't know, but it would be really cool to watch that. And they're just like,
be a great
yeah,
race.
it would be a great race. And I'm just like, I don't
There's the
know. And then,
competition in them, brother.
yeah, dude. And what's crazy, you were talking about how your kids with the confidence and everything like that. Like my son, before getting him into jiu-jitsu, he would play all kinds of sports, baseball, basketball, soccer, super timid. Like, when you think of like kids soccer, you just think of like the ball going back and forth on the field and just crowds of kids just running back and forth. My son would be like at the back of the crowd or like not running after the ball. And then all
Yep.
of a sudden, doing jujitsu, it's like he's a brand new kid. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. We're like, look at how much like confidence he has and like determination now and how he carries himself. And even just like his posture and the way that he's carrying himself now, he's like, he holds himself up taller. He's not afraid of like talking to people, like he's like outgoing more. And it's just really great. Like, and I think that I'm a big proponent of like having your kids in jujitsu, MMA, whatever it is. Like, it'll give them enough confidence to change their whole personality and to change the trajectory of their lives. It's awesome what it does.
Why do you? Why? I guess you can even look at it from your perspective because you got in at 18, so like you
Yeah.
were already competing, you were already doing
Yep.
things. Did you, when you got into it, did you see a shift in your confidence walking
Yeah,
around?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And why do you think that is? Is it because a lot of people that I talk to, it's like they think it's because, well, if you get trained, then you can you're not worried about a threat. You could probably,
Yeah.
disarm a threat. Do you think that's solely the reason, or is there other things that are going into play with that confidence that you're
No,
learning?
it's definitely that's definitely a part of it. And having the confidence, like you can attest to this. Like you show up to a brand new gym or you show up to any gym, whatever, and if the level of guys are not anywhere near like what you're used to, or just even just a random person just walking into a jujitsu gym, their we'll call it their ego or their self belief is like at 100. They're like, I can, I can beat that dude up. I can beat that dude up. If that dude stepped to me, it'll be no big deal. I'll just knock him out. And then when they're faced with reality, it's like it's a giant ego check for everyone. And it's kind of crazy. It's just seeing how people like respond to that. Like, like that whole adage of like, I don't go to jujitsu, I don't train because I just black out and see red, and then it's great. And you're like, dude, that's not how this works. That's not how like any of this works. Like you have a super false sense of confidence, a false sense of your abilities as a human being and as a man to handle yourself, and if you need to protect other people. Like you are not anything special, and I'm not claiming to be anything special either, but I know that for a fact that I got more confidence and more ability than that guy does, you know. But it's just wild.
Do you think having that? So I'll attest to it because the first time when I showed up at the Forge, I'm thinking jujitsu.
Yeah.
You throw me those mitts and the shin pads, and you say you're in. And I was
Yep.
like, fuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I am one that I kind of did have sort of the ego death, I guess what they can call it. I did like I like to think I'm humble or I check my ego, I should
Yeah.
say. Um, but then I'm sitting there and I'm with Chase and we're
Yeah.
just doing mitt work, dude. And Chase is, young. He's trying to be this fighter,
Yeah.
and I'm just there to,
Yeah.
get a workout in.
Yeah.
And I just get popped like once or twice, dude. And I'm like, I almost lost it. I'm like, that wouldn't be
Yeah.
good. Why? Well, because if I lose it,
Yeah, it's gonna be 10 times worse.
And I was just, what's gonna, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, what
I
am I gonna
can't
do?
do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So
What
I
am
just
I gonna
walked
do?
away, came
Yeah,
back. Well,
yeah,
but I was getting heated, and it's like, dude, that was a good point to me. That's something in me that I need to learn about myself
yeah,
because I thought I would be able to control that,
yeah,
and I almost couldn't.
yeah.
You know, like if that was just sparring, I may not have. I
Correct.
may
Yeah,
have been laid out flat
correct.
in that
And I
gym,
think,
dude.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people don't like realize is like when it comes time, like you guys were just drilling, you were going back and forth, you were touching each other a little bit here and there, but like that was like I don't want to call it playful because
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
it
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, like playful, like that's playful, and then like then you get upset about that, and it's just like, what do you think's gonna happen in
In a
like
real,
in in real life? You know
yes,
what I mean? Like in not a safe environment where there's other people around, where there's like an instructor or like when there's other coaches around, like watching you, like making sure you're all good. Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
yeah.
Like, yeah,
It that was a really eye-opening thing for me to really focus on because I was always in my mind. I can control that emotional side of me now,
yeah,
and well, I haven't really been hit, and I wasn't
yeah,
even hit hard. It was
no,
just I was hit, and it
yeah,
was like, yo, I'm
yeah,
supposed to do something here
yep,
because I just wanted to react. It was
yeah,
crazy, and it blew my mind, dude, how much that affected me.
yeah,
And I was like, it doesn't make any sense. And I
yeah,
think it was because I couldn't do anything if I wanted to. I
and
really
that
think that's what was bothering me.
and that is the biggest thing. Like, especially like with jujitsu, like if it's anyone who's just starting out doing jujitsu, and you're like, say a guy goes in the mountain, the instructor goes, "All right, get out of the mountain, get him off. He's sitting on top of you. This is the worst possible position. If you're in the streets or you're at the bar or whatever it is, get him off you, and you're doing everything you can. Literally, you're trying to bench press him off, you're trying to roll, you're trying to do whatever, and he's still on top, and you're like, oh my god. And I think that's
Hmm.
one of the biggest things. It's like it you gives you the reality of things and you being in the worst possible position, but it's also a great tool because you're able to collect yourself because you're in those bad positions, which then translates into real life. And real life meaning life outside of fighting in particular, like finances or your relationship problems or whatever. And you're just like, man, like if I didn't have this and I didn't like be able to check my emotions like you did, you'd be like, how would this have reacted? Maybe I would have lost it. Maybe I would have started tossing shit or, losing my mind. And, that's one of the biggest, I would say that that's probably the biggest benefits of jujitsu outside of obviously the physical changes that people go through and everything like that is the mental changes and their ability to remain calm and keep their wits about them in really dire situations.
I mean, you were a cop, so
Yeah,
you've seen those emotional reactions firsthand.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. That
mean,
was fun. Yeah,
it's when you're before I went through what I went through. I mean,
yep,
I was that guy, dude. Like I could have been one of the people you were choking out at some point somewhere, dude. Like or holding down because I was just a drunk.
yeah,
Um, and like it all like when you watch and you're like, how did that person do that to somebody? How did this husband kill this wife or his wife kill the husband or just something
yep,
like that, dude? It's like, how's that possible? It's you. It's just a second of
yeah,
whatever the hell's going on in your head,
yeah,
and they do it. Like it's weird that I could say I could see that
yeah,
because I wish I couldn't, but like
yeah,
I look at my life and I try to see it from everybody's perspective as far as like
yeah,
the victim and the aggressor. Like I could
yeah,
be either one of them.
yep.
I don't want to be either. I want to kind of try to be down that
The middle
middle. And
ground.
you
Yeah,
guys showed me that,
yeah.
still got work to do.
Oh, and
Always.
that, yeah, you always have something to do. You always have work to do, and that's like because you have to always work on yourself, and that's like the biggest thing is you always have something to improve upon. You never like finish the game of life before life's over. You know what I mean? You're not like, all right, I know who I am, and you will know who you are in other aspects, but being able to always change and adapt to situations, I think that's what's best.
What are you striving for now? Like, do
now.
you have an aim? You have the gym in place.
Yeah,
You know, you got some good fighters, dude.
yeah.
You got Alex Ludlow, who's a psychopath, like
Psycho, straight up psychopath, dude.
nut job.
Love that guy.
I hate him, dude. Uh, he's just like, dude, there's just so much, you have so much good going around you, but
Yeah,
it's not you. You're
right.
the
Yeah.
guy that's kind of like, how does that affect you, and what are you aiming for at that point?
So going forward for me, realistically, I'm gonna have a couple more fights, and it's not gonna be anything crazy. I'll probably have another two or three. Um, but the main focus right now is the gym. It's helping others right now uh, gain, uh, you know, gain notoriety, gain, I guess, fame. But it's more so just to help build people. Like the fighters that we have there, they've already, you know, Lex is established, Pat Brady's established, Kyle's obviously established. We got other guys who are coming up, some amateurs. So it's about building those guys and giving them all possible avenues to better themselves and to, if they truly want to make it in fighting, then that's kind of what I want. Like when I corner somebody, and my brother would say the same thing, like when he corners somebody or when we corner people, like we want, however bad they want to win, we want to win just as bad. And it's not like an ego thing. It's just like we're invested in those guys. Like we know the work that they put in. We were in there doing the work with them. We want them to win so bad. And when they win, it's great. It's the greatest feeling in the world. It's almost, for me, like when Kyle wins at Madison Square Garden, he knocks out Gerald Mearshart in 53 seconds or 50 seconds, whatever it
Insane,
is.
dude.
Dude, that is as close of that feeling of being in the corner as you can get to actually being in the cage. And it's the greatest feeling in the world. Like there's nothing beats, outside of the birth of my children. And I'll say this because babe, I love you. My marriage to my wife. There's nothing that there's no drug, there's no alcohol, there's no thrill of winning a fight in front of 20,000 people, and they're screaming your name, and you are, screaming at the top of your lungs after you finish the guy or you win, and everyone, all eyes are, it's the best drug in the world. The best drug in the world. Talk to Pat Brady, talk to anybody. Pat fought at Wells Fargo. He knows the amount of people, the 18,000 people, whatever it was that he fought in front of. There is no comparison. None. You're always chasing that. And that's what the UFC uses to keep you hooked, because there's nothing like it, man. It's the greatest thing in the world.
I can't lie, I feel blessed. I can't lie, I feel blessed. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself, placing God over wealth, placing time over vanity. I'm thankful for my health. I know I played the game a couple ways. I'm trying to find my wave. I know I made mistakes that I can't change, can only change my ways. So all in all, my heart is pure, my thought is sure, my mind is open. Another chapter in the book, ain't got no time to close it. But I ain't rushing through a moment in this journey. Ain't discussing what I know, just what I'm learning, trying to grow. I hope you heard me and don't hold me to my past thoughts. We pass time with fine wine and lemon lime talk. Raise a glass to the present.